Okay, guys, we are almost done. 6/5/18, June 5th, you guys. So, girls, so let's graph. F of x equals x cubed minus 9x on your calculator. Okay, so I use this window, -4 to 4, and -10 to 10 on my calculator because it says, on your calculator, so I'm doing that. And then y equals, I put x cubed minus 9x and I graph. Okay, it looks something like this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, that's the graph I have. So if I look at that graph, does it have an inverse? Now we've talked about this before. It's been a while. So we know that if it passes the vertical line test, it's a function. But it has to pass a horizontal line to have an inverse. So this one fails. It fails the horizontal line test. Okay? So if that's the case, it hits it 1, 2, 3 times. It does not have an inverse. Okay? Does not have an inverse. And the reason is because it doesn't. It fails the horizontal line test. So we talk about this thing called 1 to 1. 1 to 1. 1 to 1 means this. 1 to 1 means this. Every point has only one y value or one x value. So here's the problem right here. This point here, this x value here has one y value, but the problem is that you've got another y value that's the same and another y value that's the same. So this isn't 1 to 1. You have to have a one y value for one x value and one x value for each y value. Okay. So even though it is a function, it doesn't have an inverse. Okay. So example 2. Okay. We're going to graph example 2. Start at -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. And then we're going to go ahead and do our 1, 1. 2, 4, 1, 1, 2, 4, and we've graphed this probably before, okay? We've done this lesson before. This is the nice thing. We've seen this before. So does it have an inverse? No, it does not, because it does not pass. It won't pass the horizontal line test. So no, it does not. No. And the reason is because it fails the horizontal line test. Okay, it fails it right across, right? It's not going to pass the horizontal line test at all. Okay, but what we can do is fix it. We've done this before as well. What I'd like to do is change the domain. I'm going to highlight that. Okay, so if I change the domain and say, let's just take half this graph. Now in math, you can't just say, well, let's just erase it. Let's take half. We actually have to make a mathematical statement. So I'm going to say, let's make sure that we say let x be greater than or equal to 0. Only. So we want x to only equal the positive half of this graph, which means we are going to erase. I'm going to erase this back half. So I'm going to take my eraser now, and I can erase that back half of the graph. Or you could have erased the other. Normally we'll keep positive values. So when I look at it now, yes, now it has an inverse. So I'd say after change the value, yes, now the graph has an inverse. Okay, so what's the inverse equation? Well, we've learned back when we did logarithms that when you do the inverse, you switch x and y's. Okay, we learned that before. Okay, when you want to find the inverse of something, every x becomes y and every y becomes x, so you switch them. That's how you do the inverse. So I'm going to do the same thing. I know that I have a f of x, or y equals x squared minus 4. But to find its inverse, we're going to switch x and y for its inverse equation. So instead of y equals x squared minus 4, I'm just going to go, all right, x equals y squared minus 4. Okay, I just switched it. And then I'm going to solve. I'm going to solve for y. And if I solve for y, I'll add the 4. Right, I'll go plus 4. Am I going too fast? Okay, I'm going to add the 4. X plus 4 equals y squared. And I normally say how many answers, and you guys say 2 answers, right, because x squared. And it's normally a plus or minus, but in this case, I'm only going to have 1 answer because I've already gotten rid of the minus part. Think about this. I'm not going to have plus or minus because I got rid of the minus part of the graph, didn't I? So when I take the square root of it, I'm just going to get the square root of x plus 4 equals y. Okay. Now, that is my inverse. So I'm going to change y into f inverse of x. Okay. So this symbol here just means that's my inverse. Okay. And so I'm going to go f inverse of x is equal to the square root of x plus 4. Okay, great. I'm going to go back to my graph and graph that. Okay. Now, one of the ways we graph these was to switch points. Okay. So, let me see. Here's a good one. Okay. So if I take a look at this point is at 0, negative 4. So I'm going to go negative 4, 0. This point is at 1, negative 3, so its inverse would be a negative 3, 1. This point is at 2, 0, so its inverse is 0, 2. And there's my inverse. We also learned way back, a long time ago, that a graph and its inverse are reflections over the line y equals x. We've seen all of this before. This is nothing new. It's just kind of a review of what we've done. Okay? So, we can make a graph have an inverse, but we have to change some things to make it happen, right? So far, so good. We've done this before. Thumbs up. This is kind of a review of what we've done, okay?
Can you go down a little bit?
I sure can. How's that? Oh, there. Yeah, sorry about that, Natalie. Yes, I can. Okay. So, luckily, we've done this before. This particular chapter is all about all the different functions we've seen, which makes it nice because it's a little bit of review. The last chapter, it's nice to go back through things we've already seen, okay? Okay, page. Okay. Now, example 3. I have 2 functions. I have f of x and I have g of x, okay? I want to find f of g of x. So remember, we start from the inside. So on this one, we're going to plug g of x into f, okay? That's what it says. G of x goes inside of f. So I'm going to take my 1/2 x minus 4 and I'm going to plug it in right there, okay? I'm going to plug it in. So I'm going to rewrite this as 2 parentheses plus 4, okay? So instead of x, I'm going to put in this 1/2 x minus 4 right into there, okay? 1/2 x minus 4, okay? So I just took the 1/2 x, the entire equation, and plugged it into the x value of your f, okay? Took the entire equation, all of g, and I put all of g into f, okay? So if I simplify this, I will have a 1x minus 8 plus 4, or I'd get an x minus 4, okay? So f of g of x is equal to that. Now, if I want to do just the opposite in this one, we're going to plug f of x into g. Okay, so I'm going to take, and I'll use a different color to show this, I'm going to take my 2x plus 4, and I'm going to put it in right there, okay? So I'm going to rewrite this as a 1/2 parentheses, right? 2x plus 4 minus 4. So instead of writing x, I'm going to put, instead of x, I'm going to put this into here, okay? And then I'm just going to distribute that times that times that. I'm going to get a 1x plus 2 minus 4. And if I end up with an x minus 2, okay? Now, if, so far so good, if, and it didn't work this time, if f of g of x equals x and, okay, if g of f of x equals x, then, without even graphing, if that's true, this is a math rule. If this happens, we're so close. Then we know that they are inverses of each other. Okay, and that may happen today on your homework, okay? All right, because we are at the end, let's change this to 1 to 21 odd, right? Make it a little bit easier for you. We're almost done, you guys. We really literally have only about 2 more homework assignments left and then a review, okay? So try and do it, okay? Don't